Hey everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Behind the Wheel podcast, a podcast where we'll discuss the recent cars we've reviewed, talk about the recent news, and also possibly even throw in some offers. So if that's something that you might be interested in watching, then do click on the subscribe button or follow us on social media to be notified when the next podcast goes live. In today's episode, we chat with Paul about our favorite top 3 vehicles of the year. Plus, we even throw in a very special vehicle review. But that's it, I'll leave you to it. I hope you enjoy the episode. If you do give it a thumbs up. Sir, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Yeah, an exciting one.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, everyone, welcome back to the 4th episode of Behind the Wheel. Yeah. I just want to, out of the bat, to say a huge congrats. Because if you visit the OSV website currently, we've got over, 2 million?
Million prices.
2 million prices. So, and how many offers?
About 1,000 now.
That's about 1,000 offers.
Stock offers. Yeah.
So if you are considering perhaps, upgrading your current vehicle, give us a visit on our website and I'm sure you'll be able to find a good offer for you. And obviously our vehicle specialists will be more than happy to help you with anything else that you might have questions about. Today we actually have quite a special episode, don't we? Because we did get the rare opportunity to review an amazing vehicle. Yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't for the length of time that we normally have the vehicles for, because obviously the owner said he was quite busy at this time of the year. So it was obviously it's better to have that opportunity and film something and have something to talk about rather than actually not having anything to talk about. So it's a great vehicle.
It's impressive, I've got to say.
Absolutely. So we'll be discussing the features, kit, specs, and even trim level, because it does come with a trim level on offer. Do you know how much extra that is?
I don't know. I'm not sure if and when or whether if it should go on sale in the UK, this particular vehicle, but you'll know why as we get going. It may be difficult to buy this one, but definitely interesting to review it.
Absolutely. And we'll also it'll be a good episode to also, since it's going to be the last episode of the year, to round up our favorite cars of 2023. And obviously, if you are interested in any of those cars, then you give us a call on 01903 538 835. Or if you want to know more about them and watch those reviews, then I'll leave the links in the description below. Yeah. So right off the bat, sir, let's talk about our favorite cars of the year. I think you say you're first. Let's say to keep it easy. Yeah. Let's say top 3.
Top 3. Okay.
Top 3.
Top 3. Okay. Well, I'll go top 2. No, top 3. Definitely, I've got 2 absolute favourites. My first one was a lot earlier in the year. We had the Genesis GV70. I absolutely love that thing. G70.
G70, yeah.
It was the shooting brake.
Oh, the shooting brake.
Yep. Absolutely love that thing. I couldn't have found more things that I loved about it as I got going. My favourite, you can drive it with a remote control. I went out for a drive with that with my daughter. Didn't realise it did it. I'd heard it did, but hadn't managed to figure it out until we were out. I think we parked up in Sainsbury's or somewhere for whatever reason, come back and I tried it again, and the next thing I know, I'm driving this car forwards and backwards using the remote control. That was fantastic. The gadgets it had were amazing. The ride was fantastic. That is a definite, I would own that car.
I think Genesis, the ones we reviewed, the G70 shooting brake, the GV70 as well. Yeah. I want to get my hands on the GV60 because that is a great value for money car. But they are kind of mimicking what the big brands are doing at a more affordable price. And yeah, like you said, the features on them are absolutely amazing. Like you said, you had the remote. Loved it. Tom and I were trying to test this feature, and I'm not sure if we were doing it properly or not, but we could make it work when we weren't trying to make it work, if that makes sense.
That's it.
It was one of those, but I tried all sorts of codes, pressing it twice and hold, press once and hold, there's all sorts of things, and sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't work. I'm not sure if that's obviously user error or if there's an actual pattern that you need to press. But the feature is there once you figure out how to make it work, which I'm sure you have.
Yeah, it was as simple as you have to press, so it's got to be locked, then you press the lock button, and then you press and hold the start button, and the engine starts, and then you press forward and back. You press and hold forward and back. If you've got a home with a garage where you can get the car in the garage, but then you can't get out the car, one of those sort of garages, spot on. You just line the car up, get out, shut it, lock it, and then just drive it on the remote control. Or if you get back to a multi-story and some idiots park really close and you can't get in your own car, just start the car and drive it out of space. I thought it was a fantastic feature. I'm a gadget freak and I loved it. So
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's ideal for those situations where the parking is just a bit too tight and you can just, reverse in or reverse out without having to be in the vehicle itself, which is great.
Or just show off, which is...
Or just show up, just standing there holding your...
Literally in Sainsbury's car park driving this thing back as opposed to waiting for someone to walk past. What's he look? Hey! Brilliant. Such an enjoyable car.
It was lovely. I prefer the saloon version, but that's just because I don't really, like estate cars.
No.
I know that's a big statement, and I'm really sorry for offending any one of you that, those of you that enjoy estate cars. I do have a few that I do like, but I would say if you have two options, the G70 or the G70 SB, I'll be going for the G70, which is the same thing, it's still same equipment, same features, same price, I'm not sure, but if it differs, I'll put it on the screen. And like I said, if you want to watch that review, we actually reviewed both of them, the SB and the normal one, and I'll link them down below. My turn.
Yeah, come on. Don't pick the one I've got.
No. I actually enjoyed my time with the Euro Funky Cat. Obviously, we reviewed a lot of cars in the past year, but I think out of all of them, the Euro Funky Cat deserves the third place in my view, just because, again, it's great value for money. It's not for everyone because obviously the exterior design, as we discussed in our Euro Funky Cat podcast, which you can watch by clicking the banner above. It's not for everyone, that design.
No.
But I think when it comes to features and pricing and overall value for money, I think GWM as a really, really good vehicle in their hands. And if you are able to get it and take it for a test drive, I think you'll be very, very impressed. And the fact that there's only one trim level that comes with everything, electrically adjusted seats, you got the dual, I think they're 12-inch screens.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I really liked it.
Yeah.
But then again, it is quite polarizing when it comes to design.
It's quite quirky, isn't it, in that sense? But like you say, I think I agree with the whole, there's just one trim level. There's no messing around with it. You literally have one trim level only, and that is it, you're away. It was a pretty impressive car, so I've got to say I quite enjoyed it. Very good indeed. Very good indeed. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Perfect. Because I remember we talked about it. What about your number two?
My number two, I've got
Second place.
Second place. You see now, this is tricky. I'm going to go with the BYD. I thought that was a lot of fun. I didn't get it for long enough. The Atto 3, I loved everything that was on it. The features, again, it was a fantastic drive, very comfy. And again, I'm a bit of a tech freak, so I enjoyed the technology on it. And it was the Atto 3, I believe they had the guitar strings on the door, wasn't it? Just trying to remember. And I did see a little outtakes video, which I'm hoping you're going to put up at some point, where there's you and Katie sat in the car. And I think you sort of went a 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, and then you both tried to play the strings on the door.
One, a two, a 1, 2, 3, yeah.
But it was a great car drive, full of equipment and everything else. I think I'd have to put that as my number 2 this year so far.
Absolutely, such a smooth drive is what I took away from that car, because unlike the Euro Funky Cat, where you do have that polarizer exterior design, with the BYD Atto 3, it's very similar to whatever else we've gone on the road, and we talked about that. There's a podcast, Paul and I discussed that car in our previous podcast. I think it was number 3. I'll link that down below. And by this time, the Atto 3 review, the full review, is also live. So if that's a car that you're interested in knowing more about, then do go watch that review. But yeah, just a simple car. It didn't stand out from the crowd when it comes to its design, but then where it shined was with the interior, I think, and the driving experience.
100%. Yeah, it was brilliant. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that. Yeah, what's yours then?
My second one, I think, I really need to think about this one, because whilst I did enjoy the ID3, I do think that the Euro Funky Cat is a better version of the ID3.
Yeah.
Less trims, less money.
You're not alone. Yeah.
Which is, it's one of those. I think for my number 2, I'm going to go with I'm going to cheat as well. So it's not going to be from this year. It's going to be from last year, but we didn't do an episode last year, so I'll just cheat and get that because there's a new version that we will be reviewing quite soon. But the Hyundai Kona.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah. So we did the hybrid version.
Yep.
Which still to this day, I still think that if you are going to move away from petrol only or diesel only, perhaps you should, tip your toes with a hybrid version, just because, especially if you don't have, a way to install a charging port at your place, or if you commute for long periods of time, perhaps just having that petrol aid would be better.
I think.
But the one we will be reviewing will be the fully electric one, and again, it's just one of those cars. It's Hyundai, which is reliable. I think it's 5 years warranty, which is great, and yeah, fully electric, great equipment, different trim levels, so that you can choose whatever equipment meets your needs perfectly, and yeah, it's just a great option.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that car. Yeah, that was a very, very, very good car. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, very good indeed.
Right, what about your number one, sir?
Number one has got to be the Polestar. It can't not be. I have ranted and raved about that car since I got to drive it. And more things happened after I'd done my review with you, where I narrowly avoided hitting Bambi on the way home. I had a deer run out in front of me, which I didn't get to talk about on camera. We've done it on Facebook, but yeah, driving home the night after we did our review, I got it one more night. Driving along quite happily, doing my own thing, and literally a deer ran straight out in front of me. And if I hadn't have been in the Polestar, I swear I would have hit it in my own car. I didn't react. By the time I thought about reacting, the car had already stamped the brakes on, put the hazard lights on, and brought itself almost to a complete stop with the deer ran straight across. So, I mean, I absolutely love that car from the minute I got in it to the minute I sadly had to give it up. I was really gutted when that went back. So that's my number one car, definitely of this year's Polestar 2. Yeah, loved it.
It's really hard to compete with that, isn't it? It's really, really hard. And most people will be quite conscious that obviously having that car isn't fully autonomous.
No.
But you can, as long as you hold the steering wheel, you can just let it go. And, when I first got in the car, as we discussed before, I was a bit conscious about the whole thing. But after you saying that, it stopped, it did everything for you even before you could actually think about pressing the brake pedal.
That's it.
And it's unreal, isn't it? It's just one of those things that's like, God.
Absolutely mad. It was just brilliant. No, thoroughly enjoyed that car. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it, and very, very good indeed. But I mean, yeah, otherwise I'd say, yeah, that's got to be my number one. New favourite.
See, my number one is a very silly choice, because it's not the best value for money car. It's not the most feature-packed car. It's just what I like.
Go for it.
And it was a Mustang Mach-E, which I don't think you got to drive.
No, I didn't get to touch that one.
No.
I'm quite sad about that. I never got.
Warren got to drive it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately for him, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've always loved Mustangs since I was a little kid. And yeah, that car just ticked it all for me. I mean, there's nothing special about it. That's the thing. It's overpriced. Sorry, I'm not allowed to say that. But it's not great value for money. But it's just one of those things when you like the design of a car, when you have that heritage. For some reason, it just appealed to me. So yeah, that was my first, number one place. Unfortunately, we actually didn't have a review on that because the car was only here for a couple of days and then they had to go. But I think we probably have a car and driving episode on that, and if we do, I'll leave it linked below. Because yeah, it's definitely up there with one of my favorites.
Really cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed. Yeah. Well, it leads us nicely, because you saying about a vehicle you wanted to drive since childhood, I think it leads us quite nicely into the vehicle I got to drive.
Absolutely.
Because it's definitely, I think, every childhood dream. We got the very, very rare opportunity to be able to take out a very special vehicle that will be used on the 25th of December, or night of the 24th. I did get to review Santa's sleigh, which is quite amazing. He calls it the Sleigh 2000. I believe it may be the Mark 2000. I don't know how many of these things he's had. Yeah, absolutely unbelievable piece of kit, this thing. Really was. I've got to say, as I only got it for about an hour, just to be able to run around in it was quite impressive. Coming out here at Rivervale, I've got to say the acceleration is unreal. Lamborghini, Ferrari, I think the fastest one I've known so far was Tesla with the Plaid. I think their 0 to 60 is like 2.9. I mean, the sleigh is something along the lines of about 1/1/3 of a second, which I thought was quite impressive. My internal organs are slowly returning back to where they should be, having been pressed to my spine for quite some time after that. And again, some of these big boys out there with their top speeds of maybe 250, 300 miles an hour. It was about 850 miles a second. They did. I didn't get it to that speed because, to be frank, I was too scared. 850 miles a second, I didn't think I'd survive that. But first impressions of a sleigh, I've got to say, when I got in, it's quite minimalistic. Things like on the dashboard, you've got speedo, a rev meter, maybe a radio, temperature gauge. None of those things. None of those things exist on this sleigh. It is just a piece of wood, to be fair. Oak, very nice.
Oh, that's quite cheerful, isn't it?
Leather steering, which was quite impressive. The engine on this was quite impressive. A naturally aspirated 32-leg power plant.
Oh my god.
It gives an impressive 8 RP, which is reindeer power, by the way. I say 0 to 60, and the top speeds were absolutely unbelievable. Not the greenest vehicle in the world, though, I've got to say.
No, I don't think so.
I've got to say, I mean, it's very high on the methane output rather than the CO2 output that we're normally used to. Methane is quite high on this, especially under hard acceleration.
I mean, it's a greenhouse gas, isn't it, to start with? So it's probably not the most fuel efficient and the most green option out there, like you said. I mean, but it sounds like it was a great experience, and you obviously got to test some of the features that you had. Having said that, minimal features. But what did you think? Do you think it would be quite a good family car? What did you think of the rear space?
Well, I mean, the boot space in this thing is gargantuous. I mean, it is, from what I was told by the elf that dropped it off, Bobby, I think his name was.
Bobby,
Bobby the elf, very nice, short chap, but very nice guy. But yeah, apparently small boxes, sort of 8 or 9 billion of these can easily be fitted in the back of the boot, which you wouldn't believe to look in. I think quite easily you'd get your weekly shopping, the contents of your house, maybe the contents of your neighbour's house, and easily transport it wherever you need to take it. So I think for transportation it's fantastic in the boot size.
And carry on.
No, carry on.
I was going to say, and I heard that the steering wheel incorporates all sorts of things, including acceleration and braking as well. Is that right?
Correct, yeah. So effectively, it took a while to get used to. I was pretty much doing a U-turn on the Isle of Wight when I figured out that the steering, pretty much you pull hard to the left. Sounds pretty straightforward, same for right. But you do have to pull quite hard back to go upwards and then release slightly to go downwards. Because bearing in mind, there's the one thing with the sleigh that I've got to say, there's no more traffic. You don't have to worry about that nightmare commute home. At sort of 4,000 feet in the air, there's not really any traffic.
Any EasyJet pilots?
I managed to scare one. The guy, I don't know who he was, I didn't manage to see the flight number, but I think I did give him a bit of a scare as I zipped past him the other way. No idea what speed I was doing, obviously no speedo. It was quite scary for him, I think. Yeah, you do have to watch out for things like helicopters, low-flying aircraft, seagulls. They were quite annoying as I came over the coast, but nice features though, things like, we always talk about wheel size on the sled, of course, an 18-foot alloy sleds. Really smart on the side there. And it comes with one optional upgrade which you can get. You can have a Rudolph fitted. Now, Rudolph gives you front fog lights and sort of a navigation system at the front. Also improves the power of the vehicle as well. So yeah,
that is a pretty good deal there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't come as standard with Rudolph. That's an optional upgrade, is it? And which I suppose, when you think about it, just having that one trim level kind of makes everything much easier, especially, and I do think that that upgrade is worth going for, because you do get that fog light, which is important, especially when you're traveling at night. Those speeds, it's something that you really need to, it's quite beneficial. Increasing the horsepower or the reindeer power, the RP, it's great because obviously if you can go faster, then that's more deliveries that you can achieve, which is great. And what was the third bit you said?
I mean, so you got the reindeer power. There was only really that main upgrade was Rudolph. So front fog light, navigation system.
Oh, navigation.
Yeah, navigation. So you get a bit more navigation with it, and then as I say, a bit more power on the engine. But I mean, those engines are pretty fierce. There's plenty of power when you're there. Methane is the biggest output that causes the problem. You do get quite a lot of that in your face as you're pulling on the acceleration. Also, there's quite a lot of pellets are rejected from the exhaust system. It's quite fierce on that as well. Luckily, goggles come as standard. But I did find one thing Santa's probably got to work on is the safety systems in that vehicle, because I mean, there's no ABS, there's no seat belts, there's no doors or windows. Yeah, I think that's probably one little thing for the future, is maybe just...
Maybe, did you say this was version 2000?
Yeah, so I don't want to dread to think what version 1 looked like. I'm imagining just a pallet with maybe a horse on the front of it. I don't think there was an awful lot to it, but yeah, it was quite impressive.
Maybe something like Aladdin or something, like a carpet kind of.
Basically, could have been, yeah, exactly, yeah. That could have just been the first. Or maybe he just walked.
Maybe he did.
Yeah, just very fast walking. Very fast, I'm sure. How would he got around the whole world at that point? But yeah, it was a lovely thing to be able to have, and I don't think we're ever going to have it again. But yeah, it was fantastic.
I mean, I suppose we could always try and reach out for next year, because it's once a year kind of thing, isn't it? So perhaps we could reach out. And I suppose if we book it with this much time in advance, because obviously we only started doing this podcast very recently, so we can really reach out properly. But obviously, if we give them plenty of notice, perhaps we can have the stay for a bit longer and obviously be able to give you guys a bit more of an in-depth review on it.
That'd be Katie in there.
Absolutely.
Katie in that thing.
Just flying through
850 miles a second to Katie behind the wheel.
I'll be staying down, filming from down, filming from the ground.
Remote for you, and yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Good.
But yeah, I'm really glad you enjoyed that. Is there, but you said we couldn't really order it.
I wouldn't recommend. I think if you could order it, I wouldn't order it. To be quite honest, there's only one in the world. If it ever goes on sale, I might panic slightly, because I can't imagine the general public flying at 850 miles a second, going from 0 to 60 in 1/4 of a second.
It's perhaps not the safest thing.
No, the fuel economy wasn't bad though. That was something I forgot to mention. It was around about 1,000 miles per 2 bags of oats.
Okay.
Which, yeah,
That's pretty good.
it was pretty good. On the actual night though, as I was told riding forward, I had to keep refilling with oats, because you can go 1,000 miles pretty quick in this thing. But on the actual night, of course, he's stopping quite regularly, so it's kind of a carrot at a time. So he's constantly refueling, so you can't really measure your miles per gallon when you're in that stuff. So you can when you.
I suppose that's where the boot space also comes in handy, because obviously you can carry all those deliveries, but also the fuel for the.
That's it.
For the RP.
Yeah, it's given out for him. Yeah, so.
Well, that sounds pretty good. Well, one thing that you can, or a few things that you can do, is go and check out offers on our website, because these offers you can actually benefit from at this point in time, and they're quite safe to use.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they're all still currents come right the way through to the end of the year. So yeah, anything's on the website.
Lovely.
And you can always request a call back from the website as well. So do give a shout in anything you spot that you like. Give us a shout.
Perfect. And if you just want to give us a call, feel free to do it, and that's 01903 538 835. That's all from us for this year. We do wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We hope you had a wonderful one, and we look forward to seeing you next year.
Can't wait. Yeah, it'll be really, really good.
For episode number 5. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
As always, thank you so much for joining me.
No problems.
And I'll catch you next year.
Yeah, will do.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you later.
Feeling incredibly festive.
I know, that's very strange. I don't know.
I've got a sudden urge to go and build small wooden toys in a shed somewhere.
But tell me this in quarters. So
yeah, I'll do that again.
26 units in there, and yes.
Excellent.
Good.